Welcome back to Small Caps, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kerry Stevenson. Today, I'm speaking with Patrick Brindle once again. Patrick is the Chief Operating Officer of Piedmont Lithium. The ASX code is PLL. Now, Piedmont Lithium, primary listing is NASDAQ, also listed on the ASX. They've got projects in Ghana, Quebec, and the USA. That's Tennessee and I think it's North Carolina. Great to see you. Well, last time we spoke, Patrick, it was cash flow in 23. So lots of news flow coming out of PLL at the moment. So give us a little bit of an update of since we last spoke.
Yeah, Kerry, thank you for that warm introduction. It's great to be back. It's good to speak together again. The thematic last fall was definitely forecast of cash flow in 2023. We continue to remain on track in that regard. Biggest news items from the prior quarter. We were successfully able, together with our partners at Sayona Mining, in the restart of the North American Lithium mine in March. We're ahead of schedule in terms of commissioning and ramp up. We believe that we'll have inventory to start commercial shipments in possibly as early as July. And then, we should be able to be in a revenue recognition position by the middle of the third quarter this year and start generating free cash flow in the second half. So, definitely on track from where we thought we would be last fall. Really, really excited about that.
Can you just remind our audience of the deal that is for North American Lithium with Sayona? Just give us an overview of how that works.
Yeah, sure. So we entered into agreements in early 2021 with Sayona. So today we're the largest individual shareholder of Sayona Mining. We hold between 13 and 14% of SYA. We're a 25% owner of the joint venture at Sayona, Quebec. That includes the mine at North American Lithium. And we hold an offtake agreement with our joint venture for the greater of 113,113,000 tons per year of spodumene concentrate, or 50% of production. Our strategy for the next couple of years is to take delivery of that material and then to on-sell it to third parties. And we've negotiated some very important contracts in that regard.
Talk to us about those contracts, because that's kind of the line that you have to go down. Where are these contracts? Where's it going to end up?
Yeah, absolutely. So two anchor customers for Piedmont, and we'll start deliveries to both later this year. Firstly, in January, we announced a new agreement with Tesla, whereby we will deliver to them 125,000 tons of spodumene concentrate, beginning by the end of 2023 through the end of 2025. And then in February, we announced a deal with LG Chem that was negotiated in two parts. First, LG Chem made a $75 million US private placement into Piedmont Lithium. They're our largest individual shareholder today. They own 5.7% of PLL. Couldn't ask for a better tier one brand to come into the company. Really excited about that. And then we agreed an offtake agreement with LG Chem for 200,000 tons of spodumene concentrate from NAL, beginning before the end of 2023 and carrying through the end of 2027.
This, in terms of how much you're going to have in production terms, with that 125,000 tons to Tesla, the 200,000 tons to LG Chem, does that leave you any excess, or is that your full production at this stage?
Yeah, so effectively from Piedmont's allocation of NAL production, that represents most of our allocation for 2023. We may be able to take advantage of a spot sale or two, and then we are effectively sold out through the end of 2025, with the option to either extend our contract with Tesla beginning in 2026, or look for a different location for the balance of our tons.
Patrick, lithium was the favored child for a long time, and a lot of attention on lithium and lithium stocks. They seem to have, yours hasn't, by the way. Your stock seems to have weathered the storm a lot better than others, to be honest. But I just want a view from you, the macro view, because you said, Tesla's going to take, LG Chem will take from you as well. The excitement seems to come off. What's your long-term view on the market?
Look, we think that the prices have come off from all-time highs, as they would have needed to do in any case. We believe that the fundamentals of the market long term remain very strong. We've seen announcements in the United States, for example, of $26 billion of investment to be spent between now and the end of the decade in battery and battery materials manufacturing capacity. We estimate that demand in the US alone for lithium hydroxide will grow some 40-fold to in excess of 700,000 metric tons per annum, of which Piedmont will only contribute a small slice to the market, with our target of 60,000 tons per annum by the end of the decade. What we see, at least as far as our business is concerned, is for those customers who are chasing certain eligibilities under the Inflation Reduction Act for tax credits, that securing material from Piedmont Lithium will help them achieve those goals.
How does the Inflation Reduction Act help? So that's the US government giving tax concessions to certain areas, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. The motivation of the federal government in the US over the last 2 years has been nothing short of amazing. Just to remind listeners that in October of last year, we were awarded a $142 million grant to help support our Tennessee lithium project. That came out of the bipartisan infrastructure legislation. And then with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, where we see that benefiting Piedmont Lithium is in two places. Firstly, what's called the Advanced Manufacturing Production Credit. That's the 45X program. And what that does is that gives us a 10% direct pay credit against the cost of operations of our businesses in Tennessee and North Carolina. And, that is a credit that we're eligible for every year. We don't believe at this time, based on the nature of our business, that it has a sunset date. And, it's also a credit that we may have the opportunity to monetize in years where we don't have taxable income ourselves. So a tremendous incentive. On the customer side of the equation, there's the 30D program, which provides a tax incentive of up to $7,500 per light-duty vehicle. And in order for OEMs to be eligible for those tax credits, they have to meet certain domestic content requirements that increase over the life of the program. We believe that lithium hydroxide produced at Tennessee Lithium and Carolina Lithium will be fully eligible as far as our customers are concerned for the 30D program. And so that's also an incentive for customers to seek alignment with a company like Piedmont Lithium.
So talk to us about Tennessee and Carolina and what the news flow is from those projects.
Sure. In Tennessee, again, that's a standalone 30,000 ton per year lithium hydroxide plant. It will rely on spodumene concentrate from other sources, principally, our joint venture partnerships in Ghana and Quebec, potentially from other third parties. So 2 weeks ago, we announced the results of feasibility study from that project. Very, very positive, in part due to support from the government, whether in tax incentives or grants. We expect to complete all of the material permit approvals that we need to start construction on the project sometime later this year, after which we'll proceed with kind of building the capital stack and the project financing activities. I look forward to, starting construction on that project in the first half of next year, with first crystal sometime in 2026. We're aligned with a large US EPC to help us deliver that project. So we think we're making good strides in terms of de-risking. At Carolina, we continue to work through our permit approvals with the state of North Carolina. We most recently completed an extensive technical response to the last round of questions that the state asked us in 2022. So I'm really proud of the team's effort there after some 16 months worth of additional research and technical studies. So the state has acknowledged receipt. We'll wait to hear from them, presumably sometime in early June, whether those responses are satisfactory or whether they have more questions. At some point, once we've received our state mining permit, we'll continue to progress through the other elements of project approvals. Ultimately, we see Carolina Lithium starting construction some perhaps 12 months after the start of construction at Tennessee Lithium.
Just if I can ask you why Carolina seemed to have so much, I guess, information that you had to share with the government. What were the challenges there? Why so much needed to be done?
Look, I think I would start by saying have a very constructive relationship with the state of North Carolina. I think the regulatory agencies there, take their role and responsibility quite seriously. Our view of engagement with the state is that, North Carolina is very much open for business. I think the intent of the regulators is, not to ask Piedmont questions with the intent of not moving a project forward, but they have very rational concerns about what the long-term impacts of a project of our type will be. And, they asked us very serious questions about groundwater resources, the nature and characterization of the waste byproducts that come out of our operations. And ultimately, I believe that the rigor that we've put into that effort is for the benefit of the community. It's for the benefit of the state, and ultimately, from a long-term legacy perspective, will be for the benefit of Piedmont and Piedmont shareholders.
100%. We don't have lots of time, but I do want to ask you this, Patrick. Ghana. Now, Ghana, Africa. And, I guess jurisdiction comes up when you're looking at projects and how they're going to. I think the first question, first of all, let's start with what have you got in Ghana? And then I want to go into working in Ghana as a jurisdiction, I guess, to allay people's worries about Ghana as a place to operate. So talk to us about what you've got there and what you're doing.
Sure. So we have a joint venture partnership with Atlantic Lithium, trades here on the ASX ticker A11, and in London on the AIM under ALL. Great relationship with that team. Neil Herbert, the chairman, top operator. We are earning into a 50% project interest there with the Ghanaian assets of Atlantic Lithium, including their flagship Awuya project, and we hold, I think, 9.4% of A11 shares. And we are at a pre-feasibility stage now at the Awuya project, and we've got an application into the Minerals Commission for our mining license. That's all work in progress. My expectation is that we can look forward to completion of all of the permit approvals in Ghana sometime next year. We still have quite a bit of work to do with respect to environmental social impact assessment, relocation studies, things of that nature. And then, at the end of that process, a ratification of our EPA permit and our mining license by the Ghanaian government.
Well, so what was the reason for PLL to go into Ghana? Look, I know it's a deal with Atlantic Lithium, but was it for supply? Was it Just trying
Yeah,
to
very much,
rationale.
very much for supply. We had started to think about in 2020 the idea that, if merchant hydroxide conversion is a business model that works in China, it ought to be one that works in the United States as well. And so, we had started to articulate that strategy around the late spring of 2020. And we had been on the lookout for opportunities to invest upstream in addition to what we were building in Carolina. We started a very constructive dialogue with what was then Iron Ridge Resources
Oh yeah.
and the management team in early 2021. The things that we liked about the Awuya project, good ore body, coarse grain spodumene, low cost of construction to bring that mine into operation once it's fully approved. Very, very close to the port of Takoradi. So, the logistics route from Ghana to East Coast United States or Gulfport, very, very straightforward, there. So all of those things, plus, Ghana, look, Africa is Africa, but Ghana is a little bit exceptional. It's the largest gold producer in Africa. Newmont Mining, big American miner, largest investor, U.S. investor in Ghana. We had gotten to know our embassy there, our State Department and Commerce. We had really done our due diligence, and so we feel comfortable with the management team in Atlantic. We feel comfortable with the jurisdiction. We understand the risks, but part of our philosophy between the U.S., Quebec, and Ghana today is that we spread our risk by having these joint venture partnerships, by aligning with really quality joint venture partners, and letting them take the lead in the jurisdictions where they're the experts and we are not.
I love it. So,
Yeah.
Patrick, how would you describe Piedmont Lithium? Are you a producer? I just try to get my head around. Are you a lithium hydroxide manufacturer? Are you a miner? Are you a bit of both? I'm just kind of, how would you?
We're all of those. We're all of those things. Fundamentally, what we believe is that long term, the businesses which are fully vertically integrated from ore reserves in the ground through lithium salts manufacturing will have a strong commercial advantage over those folks who are only upstream or those folks who are only converters. So that's our fundamental philosophy. We see ourselves becoming a leading lithium hydroxide producer, very much focused on the United States and the North American battery ecosphere. We want to do that entirely from spodumene, and we want to make sure that we either own and operate those mining assets, or we have a substantial economic interest in the assets that supply us with the lithium metal units that we need for our manufacturing business.
You just said then something interesting, entirely from spodumene. Does that mean that you dismiss brines and you dismiss lepidolite? Why spodumene only?
I don't dismiss brines at all. We just don't have the technical expertise in house. We haven't built our business around it, and so. Okay. Yeah, that's the reason why we see ourselves as a pure play spodumene producer.
That's fantastic. All right, well, we're running out of time. I want to just ask you, we did this last time, so you should be aware, to wrap it all up. As I speak to you now, the ASX code is still PLL, and the share price has remained robust. I think it's about 80 cents as I speak to you today in early May 2023. What do you think 3 reasons are for people to sit up and take notice? It is a robust share price. What's the value proposition going forward?
Look, we still think there's plenty of runway in PLL and our story. We will be making commercial shipments this year to Tesla and LG Chem. We'll be generating positive cash flow as a result. We'll be self-funding a fair amount of our activities over the coming 18 months, from what we're doing in Canada We think our business is well positioned to benefit from the things that the American government has done, in particular the Inflation Reduction Act, that will give us a commercial advantage over time.
All right, I just want to ask you one final question after I asked you the final question, which is this: you just said self-funded. Are you suggesting that going forward you don't need to go out to the market for more capital to fund these projects?
Look, we have a big development program that's going to be a couple of $2 billion over the next 4 years. We'll look to solve that potentially with strategic partnerships, with prepays, with project financing. I think we have in the past always been opportunistic. If we find that capital markets are open and our share price is in a good position that supports raising money, we like to have a strong balance sheet at all times. But I wouldn't, other than being very selective in certain circumstances, I wouldn't necessarily see us coming to the market anytime soon.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. A very robust time for Piedmont Lithium. Patrick Brindle, Chief Operating Officer. It's been fantastic to see you. I wish you all the best. Come back and have a catch up very soon.
Thank you, Carrie. Good to see you.